Hey guys, it's great to have you back. This is, of course, my name is William. I'm here with Kevin Meng. We're going to be discussing this as another one in our interview series for the World of Search SEO Conference for 2024. If you don't know, Kevin is a seasoned copywriter in the SEO industry. He creates high quality content, teaches others how to do so. Believe you're coming out with a course as well, regarding AI and how to use it. I remember when you came in 2023 as well to the conference, you kind of went over AI and would it replace VAs and all that sort of thing. Because a lot of people, when it first came out, was thinking it's going to replace us and all that. But you go over how to use tools and what you do and the type of prompt and everything. So just welcome to the show, Kevin. Great to have you back. Great to have you back as well at World of Search in 2024. So
thanks for having me.
It's awesome. Besides SEO, I know a few things you do as well, but we'll go over those as so people kind of get to know you. But everybody as well, there's a chance to win. So we have a chance to win tickets for the World of Search Conference in 2024. Just share this live on your friends, your colleagues, and then send us a screenshot in the comment box, and one of our team will contact you if you are the lucky winner. Because I do have team that is on the back end while we're going through this. So if you have any questions or anything like that, just message us in the chat. Fernando's already here saying hello, everybody. All right. Awesome. So could you tell us a little bit about your background and your career journey and how you got into copywriting in general, specifically SEO content?
I started around 2013, I think, 2014, around that time. I was an English teacher living in Europe, and I always edited people's papers, and I helped my students write papers. That kind of stuff. And I just wondered if I could make money writing online. So I Googled it. So I just Googled, how do I make money writing online? I found a site called Location Rebel, which I think is still going. I don't know if it's still in business, but, and on that site, there was an article like how I make X amount of dollars per month writing SEO articles. I had never heard of this before. So I just followed this guy's advice. I made a writer profile. I put up 5 articles that I wrote about different topics that I knew a lot about, and then I started cold emailing SEO companies in my hometown, which is kind of not far from New York City, only like an hour away in Connecticut. Yeah, and so a bunch of SEO agencies in New York and Connecticut area, and some people bit, and that's it. I got started writing SEO articles. I ended up working for an agency, and
so it's kind of like a freelancer type website.
Yeah, it was just it was like something called Journo Portfolio. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but it was like a 1-page freelance writer website with like your bio, some photos, and then below there were like a bunch of like tiles with the article preview, like with the image there. You could click on that and it would bring you to the page. So yeah, I used that website to kind of like launch my freelance career. And then, I started working for an agency, and eventually that was remote. They were out of Canada. I started doing SEO articles, and then a little bit of like managing the team, assigning articles to people, editing. And then I moved to Chiang Mai in Thailand. And that's kind of when I think things really took off.
When did you move to Chiang Mai?
2016.
2016, yeah. So you work full time from Chiang Mai most of the time, and then you also travel to other places as well. Obviously, I've seen you travel back and forth to the States, etc.
Yeah, I go back home like once a year. I'm actually here about half the year, and the other half of the year I'm in Vietnam.
Now we had considered doing not Vietnam or Chiang Mai, but we considered going back and forth between the States for half a year. But I love my life here. So
yeah, it's too good out here. The weather's too good, man. I can't go back to the U.S. for too long. Connecticut is freezing, super crowded. It's not a bad place. It's just not my, once you live out here, it's kind of hard to go back,
Yep, totally different lifestyle. So when you got started in your career, what are some things that you went through as challenges that probably as a freelancer or getting started agency that were challenges for you?
I think the biggest challenge for me as a freelancer back then was, um, sorry, there's a plane flying overhead.
It's
I don't know
okay.
if you can hear it. Yeah, okay.
It's all good.
And always. The biggest challenge for me was definitely finding clients, but I could always find like the lower paying clients. That was easy. It was finding the higher paying ones and knowing how to like, raise my rates. And yeah, New Jersey's always cold, man. Connecticut's freezing at all times of year.
Mm.
Except for like dead summer, like August, it's not too bad. Like now. So I could always find like low paying work when I was a freelancer. That never was difficult for me. It was like finding the higher paying clients and making client acquisition easier and raising my rates. Those were like the biggest challenges that I had back then.
So how did you overcome that? I mean, because a lot of people, especially when you are a foreigner, not necessarily a foreigner, but let's say someone is Filipino or someone is Thai, how do they overcome? Because a lot of times people want to outsource because it is cheaper.
Yeah.
How do you overcome someone looking at them and going, well, they're Filipino or they're Thai or they're just a Pakistani. Why should I pay them higher dollar versus lower dollar? How did you overcome that? Obviously, you're not Thai or Filipino, but you still had to go through that challenge. So how did you overcome that?
Yeah. The way I first overcame it was trying to offer like more value added skills rather than just like content writing. So it was like I could do keyword research too, or I could write sales copy, I could write landing pages, I can do your emails, or I can I started working for a CRO company rather than working on like the SEO website or SEO websites that were only there for like ad revenue. I started working on the agency's blog, which was like client facing and actually had to be really well written and had storytelling and really like a lot of detail. Yeah. So I started working for a CRO company that had a blog that we really wanted to write really good content for. So they pay a lot more than like standard SEO content that's really just there to satisfy the algorithm, right? Like if it's something that's just for Google's algorithm, it's not going to pay very well. If it's something that's for people, it's going to pay a lot better. And in order to do that, you need to have like specialized knowledge, so you need to know about, for example, I needed to know a lot about SEO or CRO. So yeah, I would say instead of trying to work, if you want to charge higher rates, instead of trying to work for the SEO websites and just make SEO content, which is a good start because it's easier to get that type of job. I think it's a great start. Try to work more for like the companies themselves, like the SEO company's blog, the company blog, or like a software company's blog, or, for example, a local law firm's blog. Those types of people will pay a lot more for the content than like a standard SEO site. I think that's a good start.
So basically, there are two things I noticed. It's like, okay, so when you first started, yes, you were getting the smaller, lower paying, but then you started adding value to your services. And then number two, you started looking for higher paying clients by going to higher paying niches like law or medical, stuff like that, because they'll pay, a premium for the service versus a plumber. Not knocking the plumbing niche, but they're not they're not lawyers and they're not doctors, and they're obviously going to pay more.
I also think that there's a difference between like a plumbing site where somebody's like, hey, my pipes just burst. How do where's a local plumber? That content, it's mostly just going to be visual. It's going to be a local landing page like, hey, call this number now. Satisfaction guaranteed. We'll be out there in 30 minutes. That's like really like going to be like a local landing page that's super visual. You don't really need in-depth content. Where if it's like how to use heat maps in order to see where people are scrolling on your website and use this information to conversions. Well, that's something that's like
very really in-depth.
You need to have specialized knowledge. So the writer is going to need to be knowledgeable and things like that. So
not just anybody could write it.
Right. Yeah. And AI is not going to be good at writing it either because you need to have personal experience and things like that. So I would say if you're just getting into freelancing, go to try to focus on the niches that are going to pay more. And right now that's going to be AI. It's going to be SaaS, and it's going to be maybe crypto, blockchain stuff like that'll pay pretty well. Kind of look at like what's trending, what's getting big. anything with AI, anything with crypto, anything with finance, anything with technology in general. SaaS is really big. Everybody's got a SaaS tool. And the thing about, so that's another thing that's really important. AI like ChatGPT is trained on existing content, right? Yeah. And so if you type in something like how to fix a bursted pipe, well, there's a ton of information about that online. So ChatGPT is going to be able to create a fairly decent article about that, you know, and you're only going to have to add in a little bit of value there. But if it's like a new tool that's just been made, you know, to solve a certain problem in the SaaS world, you know, for example, like, you know, analyzing qualitative, you know, for example, I don't know, customer sentiment. Here's a new tool about measuring customer sentiment. Well, there's not really much out there about that. So if you type that into ChatGPT to make an article about that, the article is probably not going to be that good because ChatGPT is barely aware of what it is. And there's not too much in-depth content out there about it right now. So, you know, that's something that
have to be really good at writing it.
Right.
You're not going to have that much help.
You know, you need to know how the tools work. You need to know what the audience wants. You need to know their problems, how to solve them. So that kind of stuff is much more valuable from a human perspective, I think. So, you know, try to look for those niches.
So one thing, I mean, I know most SEOs run into it is because we get so focused on just creating content for just SEO and just trying to feed the algorithm so we'll rank it. How do you create a balance between, you know, creating content that is SEO friendly as well as engaging or entertaining even versus just, I'm just talking about, you know, emergency plumbing or emergency busted pipes, you know. There's always so much you can say about, you know, fixing an emergency busted pipe.
Fairly simple, right? Yeah, I mean, I understand that, like, pleasing the algorithm comes first. You need to have the entities in there. You need to have the keyword variations. You need to have your focus keywords, right? You need to make sure there's not too much fluff because fluff is just going to like make it more and more difficult for the algorithm to understand what you're even trying to say. So I would say that's number one is you want to focus on, you want to get those entities there, have those keywords, but then you can build like real human value around that. Okay, actually, so the first thing is get those entities and also make sure that it's in like a human sounding tone. Don't make it like that generic AI stuff where it's like we're talking, okay, let's say we're like plumbing. You know, if you have experienced a burst pipe, one might be worried about the crucial elements of fixing the pipe. That's like, it just sounds like an AI.
It sounds like a damn machine.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like I'm having a conversation with Kevin. It sounds like, you know, AI.
Write it just much more chill. Pretend you're talking to somebody. You can still get all the keywords in there. You can still get all the entities on the page. It's like, hey, you know, here at William, you know, at World of Search Plumbing, we know that burst pipes can be a pain in the butt. Don't worry, we're going to teach you how to fix them. Just give us 5 minutes of your time. Like, just sound like you're really talking to
conversation. Yeah.
You know? And so that would be number one. Number two is fill that around with like human value. And you can add personal experience. You can add examples. You can add screenshots with like little arrows, you know, to them. You can add like personal, you know, like we language, like here at World of Search Plumbing, you know, we always deal with customers who are like, that doesn't sound like something an AI would say, right? ChatGPT doesn't have a personality. It probably wouldn't say that without specific prompting, you know, so that would be good. You definitely have to fix the transitions between topics with AI because AI is very, very robotic unless instructed otherwise. So if you say something like, let's keep it with the plumbing, it would be like, in order to fix a burst pipe, you need to follow the following process. First, start by removing the pipe. Second, patch up the pipe. Third, and most importantly, you know, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, it is now fixed. You know, like it's very, you know, very robotic and rigid like that. So I would fix that as well. Just kind of make it transition much more naturally. Be like, okay, the first thing you need to do is this. Once that's done, we can move on to this next thing, which happens to be this. Again, pretend like you're really talking to somebody. Be very careful about like that robotic and rigid transitioning. I saw that there was a question. How do I, can I bring the question back up?
Yeah, I'll get it back up.
Sorry, I wanted to finish that thought.
Yep, no, it's good. Brennan says, what's your recommended charging model for copywriting now in the age of Gen AI? And by word, is it by word count, or do you charge so the client feels they're getting the best ROI for the bang for the buck?
So it depends on what type of copywriting you're offering. If you're offering like sales copy, which you probably shouldn't use AI for, I would still charge by the project. So if you're writing a sales page, just have a price for the sales page. And the price is going to depend on your experience, your brand, and also how much value you can bring that client. So, if they're selling like a $1 product and they're a new company, well, then they're not going to pay $500 for a sales page, But if they're selling a $1,000 course and they got a brand, well, then you could probably charge a lot of money for that sales page, 3, 4, 5 grand or something like that, or you can get a percentage of the sales. So that's a little bit different. But if we're talking about like article writing for a company, I would just charge per article. And the best thing you could probably do now with like, if you're specifically writing SEO content, and it's not like, let's say, value added content for readers. If it's specifically SEO content, I would just charge a monthly retainer for a certain amount of articles. So if it's like 1 article per week, get a monthly try to negotiate like a monthly salary, because you don't know how long the articles are going to take you. You don't know if they're going to have more articles for you. You don't know, like, there's just a lot of variables. You don't know how much editing is going to be involved or how long it's going to take you. So I think that's the best way to go. I wouldn't go by word anymore, because I would definitely get like a rough estimation of the word counts though. So if it's something like, hey, we need you to write 4 articles a week on this topic. Well, okay, how long are the articles? If you want them between like 1,500 and 2,000 words, then it's $50 an article, or $100 an article, or $200 an article. I would just make sure you have like brackets. So if it's 1,500 words or less, it's this price. If it's 1,500 to 5,000, it's this price. If it's more, it's this price. And then agree to that price based on how many articles you're writing per month. I think that's the best way to do it. Don't really go per word anymore if it's AI content. If it's really like value added, say client facing content for readers, then I probably would charge per word. But for SEO content, charge per article.
Yeah, and for ebooks, and depends on what's the niche, etc. And how in depth and all that.
I would still charge by the project for an ebook, not by the word.
Yeah, that's what we do, because we actually do ebooks and ghostwriting and stuff. But then I tell them, say, first you need to have a ghostwriter, then after that I have someone that does the layouts and everything else. So it's not as simple and straightforward as most people think.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Oh, yeah,
regarding no, it's okay.
If I can about that.
Yeah,
is that never let the client tell you it's easier than you think it is. Like, oh, I just have this article that you need to do, and you can just use AI. Well, guess what? Dumb things are going to happen. It's going to take you a long time. There's going to need to be edits. The AI gets something wrong and it bounces back. Oh, they want you to add this. They want you to take away that. Before you know it, it's like you've been spending like 3 days on an article that you thought would take 4 hours. So there's always just a lot of dumb stuff.
And you get underpaid because you made a mistake.
Right.
So
right. So if people are just like, oh, it's just AI, it's not going to take you a long time. It's like, dude, it's this is a lot harder than you think it is.
This kind of brings us into our next question, which I would say, what's the most common mistakes you see in SEO copywriting, and how can they be avoided? Which, you hit on one there, which is getting underpaid for stuff that you should have been paid more for, because you let a client tell you what it should be, and versus you're the expert, you're the one that should know how much it's going to charge and how hard it is to write it, I think.
And once they get you locked into that price, the scope creep is going to come in. They're going to start adding, by scope creep, I mean, just like they're going to add more stuff onto that, stuff that you never agreed. And before you know it, you're like painting their house. You're the plumber now in their house and stuff like that. You're cooking for that. You're doing all these different things that you never agreed to. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
I'm going to have to use that term now in a post or something, the scope creep.
Somebody
have you ever had a client that done it?
It's a real.
It is very real. I mean, I literally, like with web design with us, for example, it's like you get one set of revisions, not 5, not 10. And then if you're not firm on that, what happens is, can you just do this one little change here? and then it's another, then another, and another. And it gets broader and broader, and the next thing you know, you're redoing every damn thing, or might as well be.
Sure. I've had clients be like, hey, can you check out some of our content? And then they send me a spreadsheet with like 150 articles that I need to audit all of a sudden. And they're like, yeah, you can just choose the next 3 that you do from here. I'm like, I'm not auditing all your content over like 3 days. Where did this come from, man?
For $100, I'm not doing it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
So as far as copywriting, because I know last year you talked a lot about AI, and especially with everybody fearing that, and a lot of SEOs coming out and saying the stupid stuff too, but the AI was going to completely kill off SEO. How have you seen copywriting? Yeah. How have you, it's a lot of the big wigs are out there saying this stupid crap, and it's just
they're manipulating, like all media is just manipulation, right? They're manipulating the media in order to scare people out of the industry, right?
Yeah. I don't want any more SEOs in this industry.
I'm fine with that too. Yeah. I'm fine with that too. Oh, it's over. It's over.
It's nobody completely done. I'm retiring from SEO because of AI. It's a real good clickbait.
Smart.
As a copywriter, instead of just SEO, how have you seen copywriting evolve? Like, I know people that charge, just $200, $75 all the way. Then I know other ones that charge up to $40,000-$50,000 for a letter, not for a book.
Yeah,
So copywriting is a real good lucrative niche if you know what you're doing.
Well, I think AI has really affected it. The most has affected like the SEO content world. So when SEO people say like AI is taking over writing, they mean it's taking over writing in their industry, because AI is very factual. It's very good at writing quickly. It's very good at writing at scale, these kind of things. And SEO content, a lot of it is just, quantity over quality. You need a lot of articles for the right keywords to gain the topical authority with the right entities on the page. And like, it's very mechanical. So AI is pretty good at that. So AI has really wiped out a lot of the I would just say low level SEO content writers, and the ones
drudgery.
Per se. It wiped out a lot of the people who were just typing the keys to make a little bit of money and just write that low level SEO content that's not really for readers. It's definitely hurt them a lot. It's really consolidated. Before, people used to have 5, 6, 7, 10 writers on staff. Now they have one person that uses AI to do all that, or they have 2 or 3 and they have an editor, so it's definitely really consolidated that industry, and people are just, it's turned SEO writers really into like AI VAs, AI editors, and AI writers, basically.
Yeah.
The people I know that are still creating a lot of SEO content are mostly doing AI assisted content or auto-generated content that's then edited by a person, because it still really does need to be edited quite a bit.
Yeah, that's basically what we do in our agency, and it ranks. No matter what everybody says, it still ranks. But the human edits it, obviously.
Yeah.
And you're coming out with a course too, or is it already out? I don't think it's already out. I haven't seen a bunch of it.
Still working on it. The videos are almost done. I have maybe like one more day of recording videos, and then it's edits and we're live. So should be done within like 2 or 3 weeks. Oh yeah, thank you, man. It's been like a year. I just want it to be done.
Yeah, I remember you've posted some stuff like, I made my first $1 for my course. I always following you because you're probably one of the more interesting SEOs where you post the guitar, you play guitar, your poker wins and stuff like that, or your questions. And I decided to stop drinking, but then I, versus just SEO crap, so it's always interesting to follow you.
I get bored if I just like post about one thing all the time. I get really bored.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, check out this article. I get bored. I post like weird stuff.
Same thing over and over and over again. It's like, I tell people all the time, I don't do reels. I don't do any of that like I used to. I used to do a lot of them. But I said, now my wife will catch me doing, like I'm reading a book or something, and she'll start asking me questions and some more personal stuff that I post. So, that sort of thing.
It's like I think a lot of people, with social media now, like with AI and mass social media videos and reels, everything has become like so homogenized. Everything is so sales
You can't
oriented.
tell the difference between one person and the next.
Yeah, everything is selling something, or everything is like somebody half naked trying to get attention. Everybody is like trying to show how great their life is, or everything is just like mindless AI driven corporate BS, And so like people are gravitating to people who have like a real personality, like a real human persona, like that's authentic, and that's just what I try to be like with my group and with my social media, which is not a very big following, but my social media following, just try to be authentic and not try to be too salesy, not try to be look how amazing I am. I always type like, oh, I'm addicted to vaping, life is so great, like just something stupid, like to get people laughing.
Yeah. I used to do, it was something I learned from somebody else. He caught, I won't say it on here, but basically crap posting, use crap, change it to the other word. But I'd post stuff like, stuff that I might not really care about. Does it really matter how much of a woman's body count? But what about abortion? What do you think about the death penalty? What do you think about Harris versus Trump? I really don't care about none of that crap, but I'll post it because I'll get a bunch of engagement, and then in turn that engagement drive them to the offer, the actual thing I'm trying to get them to. So, but because I had people ask me about that stuff. Like today, I posted. I said, first day, no coffee. I've seen you do this one too. And I said, I tried it, and it lasted until about 3 p.m. And I said, screw this shit.
Yeah, it's not worth it, man.
It's like someone said, here's some bit. And I said, I was just trying to see if there's benefits to it or not benefits to it, just experience. Cause I'm straight carnivore diet, and I've been doing this for a bit, and I've dropped over 30 pounds just in less than 6 weeks. So, no exercise yet. But I will be. I already have my gym and all that. But I was just curious about the coffee, and I was like, I can't do this. So wife had made me a cup of coffee, and then I had some native coffee.
Gave up alcohol and nicotine. I can't give up caffeine too. I got to have something. You got to leave me with something.
It's like the smell of coffee in the mornings, totally. That's something I have to have. And I fast until 12 o'clock. So the first thing I do have in the morning is coffee. But I will have my coffee. So not having none of that's a little bit much for me right now. Maybe later.
You can have black coffee in the morning, right? It doesn't really count in the fast, right?
Black coffee doesn't count. Tea, black coffee, water. So the thing I learned from you last year was, it's not just about writing content, but more from the user's experience. And I know everybody uses this term, but I don't really think too many people actually understand it. Mm-hmm. What's some key elements that you would say to focus on to ensure that your content actually drives engagement and conversations, which will lead to conversions, versus me just slapping content out there?
Nice, man. Yeah. Well, I think that when everybody writes content, especially in the SEO industry, they just focus on kind of getting all of the entities and keywords on the page. They don't care about the reader. They're only thinking about the algorithm. If it's something about, I don't know. Let's change the topic. Not plumbing. What's another good one? I can't think of a topic.
Roofing.
Roofing.
No roofing. Anything. I could pick anything. Legal marijuana, medical marijuana.
Okay, so it'd be like, medical marijuana. What are the ups and downs of medical marijuana, right? And in the SEO industry, we just focus on getting all of the entities on the page. All of the keywords on the page, and we look at our competitor and we kind of reverse engineer it, and we try to produce a better article with more keywords. We just focus on the algorithm. You need to focus on the reader as well, though. What do they want? They want to have a real content by real experts that answers the intent behind the article. So you really want to go into depth and provide examples. You want to provide benefits for them, not just features. So if it's something like with medical marijuana, it would be like, one pro is that it generates tax revenue. And in the SEO industry, we would be like, one positive thing about medical marijuana is that it generates tax revenue. In fact, the United States estimates that it will generate over $400 billion worth of tax revenue in 2025 alone, which is that's very surface level. It's not really helping the reader that much. It's just stating a fact. You can expand on that though, like go into depth. How does it generate tax revenue? Give an example of a place that has implemented this policy and how it generated tax revenue. Go into the depth about the laws that govern the taxes that are charged. Give examples of towns that have been revitalized by having medical marijuana. I mean, Chiang Mai is one of them. So just going into that more depth and providing a real answer to that query would be super helpful. Not just getting the keyword on the page and being super surface level about it. Dig into the depth. What does the reader really, really want here? And we can let's use like a commercial keyword. It would be like the best hiking boot. What does somebody who Googles that term really want? What is the intent behind that search? Well, it's to find an expert who can recommend a hiking boot, right? They don't just want to know, oh, the midsole is made of leather and it's really nice and it costs $50 and it's durable. They want to know, how does it feel? What was it like when you used it? Can you compare it to other boots out there? Why is this company so, well respected? What did you feel like? What were the benefits of using it on a hike? You didn't get blisters. Your feet didn't get wet. You were out all day and your feet didn't hurt. They want to know the benefits and things like that. So really think about the reader and what they want.
So actually think about the problems.
Yeah, the problems
they're having or they're wanting to overcome, and how that's the specific boot or product or service can solve those issues without actually. That's not your goal. It is your goal, but it's not your goal. You're trying to inform them why this is the correct product or service for you, but you're doing it in a way in which you're talking about their problem with this solution versus solving from a salesy point of view.
Yeah, you don't want to be too salesy, but like giving them the information that they're really craving and giving it to them in depth. Like today, I was writing an article for a client about the best customer insight tools. So things like Google Analytics and stuff like that. And one of the articles ranking was just like, it listed a bunch of tools and it was like, Google Analytics is good for it's good for showing you like your website traffic and your bounce rate and your engagement. And then with these metrics, you can improve your website.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not enough. That's not enough. Like, think about what the person behind the search is asking or what they're looking for when they ask this to Google. They have a business, they want to improve their business, and they're looking for tools that are going to help do it. So what are they going to want to know? Well, they're going to want to know the benefits of improving your bounce rate.
Yeah.
They're going to want to know in-depth examples of how to use these tools properly. They're going to want to know your personal experience with the tools. They're going to want to know a lot of like different stuff. So imagine you are the customer, or imagine you are the person who's searching best customer insight tools. You have a business and you want to improve your business based on the customer insights. So what would you want to know? Like you would want to know, how can I improve my business? Is this thing hard to use? How do I use it? What can I do with it? Give me an example. Show me how to use it. All these different things. So it's just
more storytelling than anything, really. Storytelling.
It's storytelling, and it's like visualization, and it's also just like, it is kind of like customer experience management if you think about it, or user experience, because they have where they're here. This is their question. They don't know the best tool. These are the best tools for them, and you want to guide them. It's weird. The camera's like flipped. My hand is moving the opposite way. It's really freaking me out. You want to move them here.
Yeah.
And you have to guide them along by telling them, okay, this tool is really good for you if you are this type of person. If you're experiencing this problem, this tool is going to help solve it. And here's why. Here are all the features. Here's how they benefit you. Here's our experience of using it. Here's how to use this tool. Here's step one, set it up. Then you can look at these metrics and you do this to fix them. And all of a sudden the person is like, oh my God, this is, amazing, and
they teach it really in like storytelling and sales. I mean, it's not just about selling. It's, a lot of it is getting really into your customer's mind. How will this make me feel if I had this result? Which is really what they're getting after. They're looking for, like you said, your hiking boot, because they're in the process of doing research so they can buy it.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a decision on buying it. So
Right.
I know you work with a lot of clients, and do you have any examples, percentages, etc., something like that, in which you took someone's crappy content and took it and, if you will, improved it or got rid of it and made better content, and what did that do for them as far as conversions?
Yeah, I've got a lot of posts like that in my SEO copywriting group. I don't have like the exact conversion rate information. I just don't know it. I
Yeah.
can see it on the graphs that are posted in my group or on my Facebook wall. But yeah, there have been plenty of examples where we have totally revamped. Okay, there's one actually that can I put an image in the chat? Is that possible?
Yeah, you could put it actually and present or give me a screen share or something like that, and I can do that. I can try to do that.
Okay,
Or
let me
just, I mean, what's the name of your group as well? Because we're going to hit on that in a little bit, but.
Yeah, it's Kevin Meng SEO Copywriting Group. So my name plus SEO Copywriting.
Mm-hmm. So Kevin Meng SEO Copywriting. If you want to see the actual conversions and graphs and other content that Kevin posts in there too. So
let me just quickly try to find some of the screenshots here.
Okay. And I'll open up this. Someone else is writing while you're looking for that. Brennan says, do you advocate always writing with a closing and conversion in mind, or for purely informational value added articles for ranking purposes? Or is it okay to skip sprinkling CTAs midway through paragraphs? In other words, do you always go after conversions and sales, or is it sometimes okay not to do that?
You're always selling something. You're always selling something, even with informative content. But in my version of selling something is not like being super salesy, like buy this, it's going to be amazing, you have to get it. Like, you don't want to be salesy like that. You want to sell like in the right way. But for example, like with informative content, you want to sell by informing them how these tools or products or services actually help solve their problems. You don't want to hype it up like, this is the most amazing hiking boot you're ever going to find, and like it's going to be the most amazing hike and you're never going to buy another hiking boot again. Like, don't be super salesy like that. You do want to sell by educating, like in being authentic and being like, hey, we took this boot out on a trail and we walked for about 3 hours, and after 3 hours our feet didn't hurt at all, and this is because they use this special material, and this special material is called Gore-Tex, and here's how it makes your feet comfortable. Most people, when they go out on a hike, their feet hurt and their toes are all, I don't know, crunched up and stuff like that. This material is going to make it so you never feel that kind of pain. Like, you want to be honest and authentic and really solving their problems and stuff like that. So I always kind of go for that. Yeah. And, you're also selling in ways that you don't even realize you're selling. If you have info content on your website, like how to fix a bursted pipe, maybe that's not a good example because somebody might call a local service over or something like that. But let's say it's like how to use Google Analytics.
Yeah.
You want to keep that person on the page. You want to keep them clicking links, or you want to get them to click links. You want to keep them involved with your brand and get them to sign up for your email list. You want them to comment. You want them to share. You want them to remember your brand too. You want them to be like, oh yeah, that Kevin Meng, yeah, he really helped me last time I read that article, so maybe I'll read this one too. So even if it's just like informative content, you are still in a way selling something, right? You're selling your site, you're selling your brand. So you got to think about that too.
For us, I would say we're always doing it. I mean, always putting, if you will, call to actions throughout the content, because
but you can have
you're
CTAs,
always trying to sell,
You don't have to have like spammy or scammy CTAs or anything. It could be really like a real helpful one, like, hey, sign up for this free downloadable, this checklist, this ebook.
Yeah.
Sign up here for your free consultation, or hey, check out this article. I work with one mental health clinic, and one of our articles is signs of a dysregulated nervous system. Like, okay, you're always too nervous, or maybe you're shaking, or you can't sleep, or you're always moody, or things like that. And we have CTAs to other articles that would be like, hey, here's a dysregulation quiz. or here are some signs that somebody has a dysregulated nervous system, or here are some meditation tips, or download this ebook that's like, here are meditation tips to help you relax in the morning or in the evening, so even if you're not selling a product, you're still trying to get them to convert, right? You're still trying to achieve a goal there. So you got to be thinking about that. And the way you sell things is not by being kind of like that scummy salesman that we all think a copywriter is, right? That's not true. The way you sell is by being authentic and educating. And
he says, thanks. Next time in my content briefs to writers will always include
sell, always sell.
But you're always selling. Don't be scared of selling.
You can use power and stuff like that. You can use power and emotion like fear and social proof and hope and all that in your writing without being too salesy. You don't want to be like, Google Analytics is the most amazing, bestest, greatest tool of all time. It's so great. Buy. But you can really.
But you also, in the same token, you don't want to seem. It's like I was reading something in the book of the day. Was like, if someone asks you how are you doing, stop saying the word fine. Say I'm doing great. I'm doing amazing. But don't be too cheesy about it either. I mean, but put some energy and power behind it.
Boring, right?
Yeah. You don't want to be depressed and be like, yeah, I'm doing great, I'm doing amazing. Depending on who you're talking to, you may want to reach out or tell them the truth on those sort of things.
Well, I think that if you say something like, if you have the proof to back it up too, then you can say things like, Google Analytics is definitely the number one customer insights tool because it has the most features, the most integrations, the most in-depth data, the most actionable insights and all that stuff. And then be like, here's why we love it. And you back it up with real proof. Like, first of all, it's Google. They own everything. They run everything. Obviously, their products are going to be amazing. It has all these metrics. You can compare it to other things, like compared to these analytics, Google Analytics has 10 times more features, and it's already integrated with your Google Meet and your email and your this and your that. So if you say it's amazing and you really back it up, well, then you're not being overly salesy. You're not overhyping anything. I would always focus on benefits for the reader, educating the reader, and proving your claims to them. Like, don't say it's amazing and then not back it up. Go into that depth, have the details, explain why. So I have here's a really good one. Should I share my screen or how does this work?
Yeah, go ahead and share it. I'll see how it's going to come out with this, mainly because we got 2 split screens, so it may not work great, but we'll see.
Okay.
Let's see. So it should come up when you try to share your screen. You hit the bottom down here in StreamYard and just hit present.
Okay, I can share this one.
Yep. So I'll add that to stage. And it's not going. Let's give me 1 second. See if it will let us. Nope, it won't let us. So, but that's let's try it this way. Just it may look goofy or whatever, but yeah, we can't do it. But nevertheless, speaking of your community and stuff, what really got you to create your community for your followers and stuff? And now you got, I don't even know how many, but even if it's only a few hundred or even 1,000 or whatever, you still created the community. So why would you create the community? I mean, when let's say there's hundreds and hundreds of SEO communities out there, and as well as I do, a lot of them are filled with just, BS or whatever.
So my SEO copywriting group only has about 1,000 people in it, but I'm also a big part of Blog Growth Engine, which has a couple thousand people in it. I'm also pretty active as a group expert in Fat Graph Content Ops, the Affiliate Lab, Authority Hacker. I also have about 400 students in my previous course, Web Copy Masterclass. So if you combine everything, it's a little bit bigger of a sphere of influence. Not saying I'm a massive influencer. I'm definitely not. I will be one day though, if I keep it up, I hope, but not yet. But the reason I wanted to create that community is first of all, I think it's a therapeutic outlet for me, because Mine is all about SEO copywriting and copywriting in general. And there's so much BS out there about writing, SEO writing, copywriting, AI and writing, and all this stuff. And it's just, some of it is just mind-bogglingly bad, and it makes me angry to even see it. So like, I'm always like, in my group, I'm just focusing on, here's what I did, here are the results, here's why it worked, you know, and not just like, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think SEO is dead? Do you think SEO copywriting is dead? Or like, hey, you know, which AI tool do you like the most? I don't just want to post that like generic crap. Or here are the results. All you have to do is learn good copywriting. Like, I try not to do that too much. I really want to focus on what works. And what works is, you know, writing good, valuable content for readers that's got benefits, experience, visualization, storytelling, all that stuff. So I'm just like, here's the article before, here's what we did, and here's why it worked. And so I can look at some of the results here. So I worked with a friend of mine, Neil, and we have 27% increase in goal completions and 22.3% increase in goal conversions. And that was measuring long visits and clicks to affiliates. So long visits is before people were just coming to the page and bouncing. Long visits were people who I think had stayed for up to a minute. So we got 27%, you know, almost increase in long visits and 18% increase to clicks. And it was just an easy fix of changing the intro and changing the tone. That was a really big one. Here I have one article from a friend's website from a couple years ago selling darts and dartboards, which were like maybe only like 15 to 20 or maybe $40 products. And you'll be able to see it if you join my group and look at the images. But there's a graph. It's basically just very, very flat. And then boom, it starts to spike. And that's ordered items. And looks like we got up to almost 300 ordered items, which is pretty nuts. So it went.
That's nice.
It went. Oh, no, it looks like the ordered items was 15. Sorry, I'm reading the graph wrong here. Okay, that's the 300 was clicks, and then the ordered items was 15. So, but yeah, in that one I added a story, I added benefits, I changed the formatting and stuff. So
nice.
CRO really does work.
So no, you were into copywriting and everything, and then I mean, I don't think or know you weren't always AI friendly. You know, from what I gather, it's the last conference.
I'm not like super AI friendly, but it's more like just I understand where the industry is going, and I do see the benefits of AI. Like, I really do.
So
for me, because I write
for you, because you used to be, if you will, someone that wasn't for it per se. What would you give what advice would you give people that are like copywriters or SEOs? They're like, listen, I'm not messing with AI. I'm not going to use any tools that have anything to do with AI. I'm not promoting the use of AI. I don't want no one replacing me, that sort of thing. What would you tell them, you know, to convince them to actually start using some AI and how it can help them?
Well, even if you don't want to write the articles with AI, AI is still really good as like a research assistant. You know, you can ask it questions like, hey, my customer is somebody looking for a customer insights tool like Google Analytics. What are some problems they might be facing? What are some tools that you recommend they use? What are some of the key features of those tools? Like, before, you would have to go to YouTube and Google and look at a bunch of different articles to learn that information. Now you can tell that, you can ask that to ChatGPT and you get all the answers right away. Of course, you have to verify things and you still need to search around and you still need to learn about the niche on your own. But it does give you a lot of good information very quickly. I think that's important. It's also good at like evaluating your content based on like conciseness and overusing phrases. So maybe you repeat words too much and sometimes you don't notice it. You can put your articles into ChatGPT and ask it like, hey, you know, check for overused phrases, check for repetition, check for some fluff and stuff like that. It can identify those things for you. It could also, it's also really good at like, hey, here's my article, and the person is looking for a Google Analytics instruction article. What is something that I may have missed? Can you recommend some topics that I could put into this article to make it more comprehensive? And I think it's pretty good at that as well. It could give you some suggestions along with like some topics within that section to cover. So that's really good. Even if you don't want to write the article with AI, It's very good to help you like edit and get inspiration and to suggest other topics and things like that. So it's pretty good at that. As far as AI for writing articles, I think that if you're just like a purely SEO site, or if you're like a news site, like a business that you want to launch a blog, AI will just be so helpful in helping you to attain that like topical authority really quickly and produce articles. And what I would do is I would divide up all the articles, like create your topical map or create all the articles that you want to make, and then divide up the articles into different, let's say, buckets, and be like, okay, these articles here are not so important. These are more for like just topical authority. These are purely SEO things, SEO articles that probably aren't even going to be read by people that often. Those can just be purely AI. Just make sure you're using AI the right way, prompt it right, get the right tone, make sure you have somebody edit it a little bit. And then you can post those and boom, you're starting to get that, you're getting the algorithm clicking, you're getting more articles published. And I think it'll be very helpful. If you have more important articles that need to be like, more in-depth and have more personal experience, you probably want more human intervention on those. So, nice. And also one more thing, if you have like a super long article that's like 5,000 words and there's a section in there that's like, give me some tips for helping to calm your nervous system. That really doesn't need to be like super human written and in depth. You could tell ChatGPT, hey, give me 10 tips for calming my nervous system down, along with how do I know if that tip is the right for me, or give me an example and instructions of how to perform it, cite sources if necessary. And you still want to, A, have knowledge of your niche, and B, you want to make sure, like do some referencing with other websites to make sure that ChatGPT knows what it's talking about. But for the most part, like that kind of very factual, mechanical stuff can be done by ChatGPT. So even if you write the intro and the other sections on your own with real like human experience, that kind of mechanical stuff, like 10 tips for doing this, can just be ChatGPT. And it makes it just easier to write the content. So yeah. So using it as an assistant for that kind of, like, let's say the important human content can be mostly human, and in that case you use AI as the assistant. For the not so important content, AI does most of the work, and you just kind of, let's say flesh it out by adding more bullet points into the outline and guiding it with more in-depth prompts and some editing. So in that way, it's more like, let's say 50-50. And then in the less important articles, you could do like the 80-20. AI does 80%, you do like 20% editing. So I still think AI is going to be super valuable as a writing assistant for even the most ardent AI haters, at least when it comes to SEO. When it comes to like SEO stuff, yeah. For like sales pages, sales copy, no, I think AI is really bad. I think it's atrocious. And anyone who's saying, oh, it's writing amazing sales copy, they're lying to you. Or maybe they've cracked the code and I haven't. Or the copy's not that important to them. So I don't know, but anyone who's telling you that like, oh, I'm writing amazing sales pages with AI, unless they're editing it heavily, I don't believe it. Not until I see it. Show me, please. I want to be proven wrong, so my job is easier.
But yeah, so you don't have to sit there and spend hours in writing sales copy. It's not that easy. I mean, I know people that make shit. Yep. I know people that make a lot of money doing it, but the fact is, they're not just sitting there spitting out with AI, and especially not the top paid people that I'm talking about that make anywhere from 30, 40 grand for one little letter. I mean, or they get a percentage of the sales. So,
well, here's the thing. If you're really selling something to somebody, like if you have a target audience. So for example, like there was one student in a community of ours that was a beekeeper, and he was selling like beekeeping kits and talking about like keeping bees inside of an urban home and how to use, how to make honey and make products out of the honey. Yada, yada. It's a lot more popular than you think it is. People are weird. But if you have a really defined niche like that of people who love beekeeping, and you're selling them a product and you're showing them generic AI content in a sales page, they're going to figure out you're a fraud in 2 seconds. In 2 seconds, you're going to be gone. So, the copy needs to be really benefits driven, tuned to the audience, using the right words, powerful, not generic, really illustrative. There needs to be storytelling. AI is not good at those things. Those are human jobs for now. AI is not good at thinking. AI is good at like analyzing data and producing words, but it's not really good at thinking. So, or if you're writing like a sales letter for a product and you read it and it's super generic, you're just going to throw it out, or well, close the window. I'm still old school. I remember when letters came in the mail, but you're going to close the window. Anytime I see people like trying to sell me something and I can tell it's AI content in 2 seconds, I don't care. I'm just done with it. So I'd be very careful about writing sales copy with ChatGPT, but it's very good for informative articles, and it's very good for SEO in general, I think.
So with all the, everybody talking about AI will end SEO, and we've been through it for over almost a year or two now, and SEO is still kicking, even though you got generative search and some other things going on. Where do you see AI taking SEO? I mean, is it going to change even more dramatically? Is it going to be better, worse, that sort of thing? Where do you see it heading?
Oh man, I definitely think, well, at least in terms of content, that's really what I can speak about. Is we're going to see more and more of a reliance on your brand, more of a reliance on off-page signals, links, maybe social signals, or click-through rate, time on page, and less of a reliance on page, because on page is just like, it's super easy to, like, let's say fake, right? You can just use AI to get all of the right entities and keywords on the page, and then boom, your page can rank, right? Like, you don't need to be an expert in the field. You don't need to have a big brand. You don't need to have, good links in order to do on page the right way, right? I think, at least. You just need to use Surfer or Pop or, no semantic SEO or whatever you want to call it, get all the entities there. So Google is probably going to have, and I also think that everybody, like in the first 5 to 10 results with AI, could just have all of the same content, So it's really going to come down to like, who is bringing something unique to the table? Who's like a real brand with real experience that has a unique angle on this topic? And I'm already seeing it now, actually, with this mental health clinic that I work with. I'm seeing it now in the SERPs for certain keywords. And I think that the SERPs are doing a very good job of displaying unique and interesting content with different angles that might not even be related to that core topic. I don't really want to go into too much depth, because it's like with like mental health issues and stuff like that. But it's all these different health clinics that have a lot of big like brand signals from the GMB and from review. They have a lot of EEAT from the doctors who work there, and they have those profiles and all that. So that's what's really going to matter the most. I think like the entities in your content are going to matter less, and the uniqueness of the content is going to matter more. The brand signals are going to matter more. All that off page is going to matter more. The stuff that's harder to fake without AI, I think, is going to matter. As far as like where it's going to go with content, I think that people are going to want to connect more with like authentic brands. I mean, for like basic, like top of the funnel queries, like how do I start a blog? I think you can use AI for that, and most people can have the same article with the same information. I mean, people did that anyway before AI. They just looked at what their competitors were doing and they copied it anyway, right? But I think what we'll see in the future is like the strongest brands are going to win, who have a unique angle on that content, like a unique value add to the content that's not in any other article. I think that that's going to be helpful. That's just my my take on it. And I think, brands are just going to continue to dominate, like typical SEO sites without a brand behind it or a product or a service behind it. I think that's going to get harder and harder. Like, you're going to have to be legit, or at least
Yeah, I mean, I get the number one question I get from most people that are struggling agency owners. It's like, how are you generating your leads? And I tell them all the time, I said, it's through brand, and they don't.
Yeah.
It's like, for them, it's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, to me, SEO is branding. I've always looked at it that way. And for me, it's like develop your brand. If you develop your brand, then you're not going to have a lead gen problem. I don't do any outbound, per se marketing. It's all inbound.
Yeah.
Through organic marketing. I'm starting now to get into paid ads and stuff like that, or cold email and stuff like that, but I haven't done it for years. So
it's really growing that brand, man. You got to have a group, you got to make videos, people got to know you, you got to go on podcasts, you got to network, you got to go to conferences. Like growing that brand is how you differentiate yourself from other people.
That's why I'm saying mainly one of the things I like about you is you always see you're doing stuff outside of just SEO so people can relate to you versus just SEO jargon.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you just talk about SEO and brand signals and entities, people are kind of like, unless they're into it, the only people you're reaching is SEOs. But if you actually kind of relate to people, biggest one for me, the biggest one most people get on sales calls with is, I love your story. I love what you posted about how you started, where you got through, the struggles you went through, stuff like that.
Yeah, they really like the human being behind the service, right? And they trust you. They want to get to know you. They're happy to work with you.
Which ties into what you talk about, like how you're writing content. It's not just, how to fix a broken pipe, type thing. It's like, or what's the best hiking shoe? It's, an actual user experience.
Yeah.
And things that actually they're looking at versus me just saying this is the best hiking shoe ever. So, what's going to be your topic? Have you nailed down your topic for the conference yet?
Yeah, it's just going to be how to write helpful content with ChatGPT. So helpful human sounding content. It's going to be about how to write content that's, let's say, better than just average ChatGPT, because everybody has ChatGPT now or some other AI writing tool. So that's the new, let's say, low. That's the new bar. ChatGPT has raised the bar from down here to here, right? Somewhere around the middle ground. So now it's how do you add value to that? And the way you add value is by understanding what readers really want and how to prompt that into ChatGPT and how to get it to produce a tone that's actually readable and readers don't mind reading.
I know it's really pushing it, but do you think your course will be ready before the conference?
I promise it will be ready. I have to fulfill that promise. It will be ready.
So if you could just invite our audience, to the World of Search 2024, and
please come see me speak. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
Come join us at,
Yeah, thank you so much. That was great. I love, I loved your topic last time. I would just say, if you don't have an iPad, bring a pencil and paper and take notes. Or I think we definitely record them. You can get the recordings afterwards, but I like taking notes and then implement it. We did so. Once I got back, I gave every bit of notes I took to our content team. That's why I'm kind of can't wait. Hurry up with this content course. I want to put my team leader through it, so.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it'll be done. I have almost all the videos filmed now, so I just need to edit it, and then I'll do I'll do a soft launch. I won't do a full launch. I'll just kind of organically tell everyone about it and get as many people to join as I can.
Yeah, Brennan, he was posting some questions and stuff. Said, see you at the Heritage Hotel. How do I win another ticket to WOSCon for sharing, asking questions, engaging comment? Need to bring my writer there as well. So share it on your wall, screenshot that you posted it, and then our team will reach out to you. Screenshot it either on YouTube. I don't think you can do it on YouTube, but on Facebook, inside WOSCon, and then team will reach out to you and stuff. So. And then I'm also probably going to be doing some free giveaways as well on my own channel. So, but I look forward to seeing everybody there. I look forward to seeing you again, Kevin. And until
thanks for having me again. Looking forward to it, man.
All right. I appreciate it, buddy. You be blessed and have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
All right.